So you talk about children being taken away from their parents or social services stepping in. Well, there was a lot of abuse and there was a lot of terrible suffering, and social services was empowered to come in order to make things good, which were plainly wrong. The problem is, as I say, everything goes wrong. Whenever you create a power, it gets corrupted.
They're trying to control our behaviour rather than freeing us, not to do whatever we want in the swinging 60s, but to liberate people to make decisions for the sake of people and planet. That's never happened before.
There is something particular about the UK that has the great combination of enterprise and tradition, so freedom and restraint, which I think create the foundations on which we can be great. And I think we can lead the world in developing a model of managing technology.
The Manna journey is the catalyst for change in our world. It's a consistent source of truth for the next generation and current leaders. Our mission is to change the world by reframing our current governance, by using ancient wisdom to solve modern problems, and by shaping innovative new businesses to have a culture of pursuit of purpose.
I just want to ask you, because I want to return to a point that Phillip made before we explore it a little bit more, this educate, not regulate. Because I fear one of the things that's happened, quite apart from social media, though social media may be a part of it, I fear that we have exchanged genuine community, genuine relationships and genuine family and expected really the government to come in and deal with it for us. And we see time and time again social workers stepping in far more often than they would have done in the past, sometimes rightly, many times wrongly. We find legislation, Phillip goes on about it all the time, where it's, it's as thick as your arm, one piece of legislation. And what we're doing is, we're just afraid to say, do you know what, I'm your dad and I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm not, but you see what I mean?
Yes, I do. I mean, we've delegitimized traditional authority, partly because of the abuse of traditional authority. So you talk about children being taken away from their parents or social services stepping in. Well, there was a lot of abuse and there was a lot of terrible suffering, and social services was empowered to come in order to make things good, which were plainly wrong. The problem is, as I say, everything goes wrong. Whenever you create a power, it gets corrupted. Human power is just always corrupting, and so social services will operate not corruptly in the sense of being bribed, but just acting wrongly and badly. So the only answer, I think, in this life, leaving the religion out of it, the only answer is to strengthen the natural institutions and try and make for better families and better local communities. And that does partly require some sort of, if not bringing back traditional authority, new forms of authority, basically encouraging grown-ups to be grown-ups, making adults behave like adults, and reminding children that they're children as well. That's part of it. But people should, sorry, just to finish the point I'm trying to make, people should be stepping forward, and we should be encouraging them to step forward, step up, take responsibility, play a role in your community, whether you're, forget about family life, citizen, neighbourhood life. Always saying local government should come and fix this. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? You are the they in the why don't they do something about it? Yes. And I think we need a whole culture change around citizenship and stepping up and playing a role. We need an economy that enables it, of course, because nobody has any time. But that's a separate question.
I don't agree with all of that, Daddy. Surprise, surprise. But look, people are not innately bad. This is why I disagree with you. I don't think people are simply people that are driven by sex and power. I don't think they are. I think they're innately healthy. They're innately good people. That's why I don't think we need the countervailing power of the state, which is very Freudian in its outlook. Because Freud said, look, we are unconscious beings. We make decisions unconsciously. Therefore, we need to control. The state needs to have a role. Don't buy that at all. I think the opposite is true. We are innately healthy. We can behave. We want to do good. The trouble is, the system doesn't allow us to do good. The system is trying to control us, whether it be socialism or whether it be the state via civil service or whether it be capitalism. They're trying to control our behaviour rather than freeing us, not to do whatever we want in the swinging 60s, but to liberate people to make decisions for the sake of people and planet. That's never happened before. You've never had organisations. No, this is not a centralised state. These are organisations that are run around small units of teams of 10 to 12 that are looking after the interest of the local families, the local communities. It's been tried with Bertzog, that you and I are both familiar with, and it worked in Holland. This kind of model where you distribute power so that people can make decisions for themselves to care for others actually has never been tried. And therefore that would actually do it. And it's not, it doesn't need a big state. It needs the state to create an environment to make the way not for people to be free to do whatever they want, to make money and to buy yachts, but to actually run small enterprises, small units. The local high street can be revitalised. We can start bringing fish back to Grimms. We can start bringing manufacturing back from China. And we can actually, the beauty, something else which I disagree with you, is this bit about globalisation. I don't think that will ever work. We have to circulate. We have to actually put barriers for a period around the UK. The UK is an island. We led the way in the Industrial Revolution. We can lead the way again. We have the innovation, we have the intellect to do it. We're contaminated because of all of these outside influences. So for a time...
Well, it was actually because we could sell to the world. That's why we prospered in the Industrial Revolution.
Well, we relinquished power from the kings to people. And therefore, there was a distribution of power, and ideas were able to thrive when monarchy fell by the wayside. There's no question it wasn't ideal. There was exploitation of the children, etc. But fundamentally, we can do it. No one else can do it. Therefore, we need to lead the way, and we need to show by example how it can be done.
Can I just say to both of you, because obviously the Manna Journey is an important project. Clearly, what you do in the House of Commons is also incredibly important. But as a big businessman, as a politician, how do you predict we will get to a place where our society is stronger in the future?
Well, I think we will, if we get our ideas right at this stage. We are at a very, very critical moment. And there are huge threats in the world, which we can all see before us. And we are completely blind about what technology is doing to us. So I think we need these kind of conversations to become the normal matter of political discourse. And we need to make some right decisions. But I do think, I'm a pessimist about human nature, but I'm an optimist about society. So I don't know where Philip gets his theology to think that we're born good. But anyway, leaving that aside, the reason we are good is that because we're well socialised. And traditionally in the West and in this country, we have developed institutions which enable us to be good and shepherd us in the right direction. So we need to restore those institutions and build new ones for the modern age. But I do think I am optimistic about what might be done. It seems miraculous to imagine it, but I do imagine, and particularly in this country, and I echo what Philip says, there is something particular about the UK that that has the great combination of enterprise and tradition, so freedom and restraint, which I think create the foundations on which we can be great. And I think we can lead the world in developing a model of managing technology and social media and its impact on our lives. I think we can do that, but we have to do a lot of work to think through its implications. And I think that we can. Should be in parallel with. I keep talking in these old-fashioned terms, but a restoration of the sort of normal habits of community life, which is actually what we all want. And I go back to my point. I think particularly young people. Here we are filming in Islington, East London, North London. They're full of hipsters in corduroy, on bicycles with moustaches. We are. There is a sort of new Victorian spirit, I think, going on, which is people are searching.
People want a sense of belonging.
They want a sense of belonging. They want a purpose to their lives, and they're fundamentally unhappy with the technological world. So
Philip, same question.
Okay, to me, there's going to be systemic failure. I'm not scared of it, but it has to happen. The amount of debt there is in the world, the dollar's going to collapse. It's inevitable. And it will create a collapse of fiat currencies. I'm not saying this is because for doom and gloom. I think it's going to be superb because we need to start again. It happened in 2008. The amount of debt now is massively higher than 2008, and interest rates have been hiked by 5% in a very short space of time. We'll see what happens on Thursday again. So the system has to collapse, and that's when the opportunity comes. Then what you don't want to do is a big bang. You then start to think about what is the right answer. You then start to locally in villages to start to create a new model around a different monetary system, a different system for debt, no debt. We haven't got time to go into it now, but that's the way it's going to happen. It's going to happen relatively soon because the systems are going to collapse, and that will trigger. And hopefully when that happens, we can sit around a table in Westminster with the powers that be, almost a uniform government almost a wall cabinet, because that's what you need in these kind of environments where you work together, Labour and Conservatives and all the parties, to come up with a new way of operating.
Well, okay, Danny, thank you so much for coming. I know that you've done a lot with the Manna journey already, but obviously we always appreciate it. Philip, as ever, we appreciate you, and hopefully society will change in the coming weeks, months, or perhaps years, and we will be here to assist it at the Manna journey. Till next time, goodbye.